Hi, Tanya.
Hello, Anne Marie.
We're going to have
Oh,
another chit chat today on our
woohoo!
podcast.
We are back to the podcast. I love this time with you. It's
It
fun.
is enjoyable. It's fun because I every week I think, oh, well, we have a loose plan, but then we we make little notes and little texts. Well, we should talk about this. We should
Yes.
talk about this.
Yes.
So we have on the theme of midlife, we're going to talk about just funny little isms and things we've been noticing as we've been getting older. I don't know.
Yes.
One of the things I noticed. Maybe we talk about the Olympics, how we're now no longer the Olympians. We are the parents of the Olympians.
Parents of the Olympians.
Haven't you noticed that? I was identifying with all the parents in the stands, like crying for those parents. And they were
It's
so
true.
wonderfully featured. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not connecting with the athlete whipping down. They're born in like 2003. It's the parents. I totally.
That's such a funny point. Honestly, I'm sitting here trying to remember what we talked about we were going to talk about today, but it's all coming back to me.
That's also
Um,
midlife. That is
that is
also.
also midlife and also Anne Marie and Tanya's role. Anne Marie always and I just kind of, oh, right. Let's just go. But right, that's such a good point because we were talking about, yeah, how you'd watch the Olympics and go, man, if I worked out a little bit more, maybe I could do that. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, it
Yeah.
inspires you to like maybe take on a sport more or do something more. And flippantly or, very fun, like loosely go, ha ha. If I did a few more burpees, I could be an Olympian, like when you were young. And now it's about the parent. And we were talking about
And a lot of the parents are younger than us, even.
you're right. But even so, it was like it highlighted, and I say this very facetiously, everyone, like how much of a failure you are in comparison to an Olympian. Like, oh my God, those people are like the cream of the crop in their sport. So now transport that to you as a parent. When you look at these stories, you were talking about the one skater and how she excels in all those
Oh,
areas.
the skier,
Oh, was it the
Eileen
skier?
Gu,
I couldn't
the Goo.
remember.
Yeah, because she's the one who also has been making headlines because she told the male journalist essentially his like she laughed at his question. Did you see that one?
Yeah, of course, everyone in the world has
She's
seen that.
amazing. Like she's like your icon of icons. Like not only
So,
has she the most decorated
yes,
skier in history, and
yes.
she is bilingual because she's skiing under the Chinese flag, but she grew up in the US. She goes to Stanford. She's a Vogue model with 2.1 million followers, the most well-spoken, intelligent woman. And then just for fun, she flips down incredibly steep mountains backwards and does ginormous flop and then finishes with a flourish, lifts up her goggles, and she's this like model, beautiful with these, and she takes off her gloves. She has nice nails, and her just like, yes, I guess if you look at someone like that, it's easy to think you use the word failure, which I don't think any of us
I'm
are
I'm
failures,
using
but
it
like
there.
she's outrageously unachievable.
So, okay, so my point again, this is the humor part of my
Yeah,
humor. It's like the meme, if I was to make one,
yeah.
is like, when you're feeling like a failure, like as a parent, you look at this child and go, God, like
Get
what did
off the
these parents,
couch.
what did these parents do to create such a being? I thought I was doing pretty good with my kids, just staying in uni, doing the things they need to do, drinking on the weekends, having a
Yeah.
social life. And then as a parent, you go, huh, wow,
Yeah, where's this
probably could have done
22-year
more.
old? Yeah, this 22-year-old who is the most decorated skier in the world. I saw a quote from her. She said, and I mean, listen, she's amazing. But
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
wanted to be a
listen.
little, if you wanted to be a little finicky, you could be like this woman. So she talked about her first Olympics, I guess she was 18. They
Yeah.
were an opportunity. The second Olympics is a privilege. And I thought, isn't that's a great
Like
way of
they
thinking about
even have
anything.
this brilliant perspective. So really where we're getting to this topic of it led us to like, oh, on Monday, because we got a really good laugh at, oh, well, we thought we were doing good as parents, but after the Olympics, clearly we're mediocre. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. My kids are amazing. I'm not like it, just see the humor in all of this.
Yes.
We started talking about things that exactly what your point was is that our perspective in watching things all of a sudden shifted. Our perspective being in a certain area has shifted. And I can't say that I felt that way maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but I have my funny story about my eyeballs where
Yeah.
I was like,
For anyone watching us, I'm wearing my glasses today and I do not normally. Well, I wear them not
and
for
I
this.
am
And you don't
not.
look like yourself because you've
I
worn
know. Can
glasses
you
for your
just,
whole
you
life.
need to stop. Not actually my whole life. This is what, just imagine me a little bit, what's the word? Shinier. As
I
in the
don't know.
20, this is the 20-year-old
Younger.
Tanya.
This is the 20-year-old
This is
Tanya,
the
but I didn't
20-year-old
know the
Tanya. What
20-year-old.
I know, I always had my contacts in. I did like to wear my glasses, and then you just get tired when you have kids. And I just always had my glasses. But anyway, and then it became my look. And yes, I know everyone says this to me, and everyone says it with great grief because I am grieving the loss
Grief.
of my, yes, because it's my look. And I have to entirely change the way I present myself, which I haven't figured out. But it's also, you know me, it's a challenge and I'm actually enjoying that. But that's not the point. Point is I went because I had a cataract because yes, I'm 51 and have a flipping cataract. What? So me and all the 75 and 80-year-olds were at the day of surgery, which ultimately for anyone who wants to know, when you have a cataract at 51, or generally, you can just get laser surgery and that just removes the cataract. So you're not necessarily getting cataract surgery. That's if you want to pay for it as well. The government will pay for the cataract. But because I'm only 51, it was strongly suggested, and also because I tend to be easily sold into things. But because I was 51, the doctors was like, you're going to have these eyeballs for a lot longer than the standard person with cataract. You should really invest in a new pair of lenses in your eyes, which I did. But I hadn't, knock on wood, and I'm very grateful, have not really been around the healthcare system in a while. And my big story is when I get there, I literally had this thought, where are all the adults? Because everybody was the age of my oldest child.
Where are all the adults?
I literally almost said it out loud. I was like, are the adults showing up to this party? Like, I have the story where there were the two very lovely nurses who were a couple years older than my oldest son, and they're chatting. And I'm sure someone answered the other one with the word bet and might have used bruh in the entire conversation. And I'm already so stressed about this. Like, they had to put me on the day where an IV is given because I do not like surgeries happening on me at all. I'm such a baby when it comes to that stuff. And I was like, and they're like, they're just talking so
Just
openly about
calm down. Just chill, bro.
just
Just
chill.
chill.
No, but I'm sure she used bet, like bet, because they were talking about how, oh, I don't actually use this needle. We
Tool.
use tool, blah blah blah. And I, when I get nervous, I get funnier. Like that is my way of like calming myself is I crack jokes. So, oh, and then the other, so I'm like, ladies, maybe you don't want to have such an open conversation about how this is all net new for you because you're freaking everybody out. And they're laughing. But then they have this conversation and they go, we have to ask you some qualifying questions. Do you have hearing loss? Or no, do you have dentures? And I'm like, what? No. Do you have hearing loss? And I'm like, oh my God. You're asking me questions as if I'm 75 or 80 years old. I'm 51 and we're like, ha ha ha, laughing. But anyway, my long point is that was a very surreal experience when I realized that I am the adult and everybody else are also adults, but I'm the oldest one. I am now my parents. And I remember talking to my dad, and he's like, I also distinctly remember when all of a sudden I became the oldest one in the room. Or not, because I was with the 80-year-olds. But you know what I'm generally saying? Like when your doctor is younger than me, that feels strange.
Totally.
So that's
Yep.
my little story.
And have you been in other circumstances? I mean, you also were around, like, I'm assuming, like in the waiting room or whatever, like it's all seniors. But
Well,
when
I was
you're
used to
around
the other
seniors,
people. I'm okay with that. It was when there was someone who was going to do things to my eyes. And then when the boy, it's a boy in my head because he literally looks like Rylan, that age, wheels me away and starts putting me into the machine. And I'm like, who are you? And are you doing this? Where's the doctor? Like, don't touch me. It's so bad. It's my own preconceived, like, how terrible, how terrible. But I really just, they actually had to take me out because I think I had a minor panic attack. Um, it was the first time ever so intentionally that I was aware that everyone was at least 15 years younger. It's like, this is my eyeballs are going into the hands of these. Now, my doctor is not. My doctor is younger than me, but I think she's in her 40s, and that feels good. That feels fine because I feel like I'm in my 40s. But when you're dealing with a 20 something year old for your, I don't know.
But then,
I
I
know
mean, the other flip side is, I mean, they're the most newly trained. They might be better. I mean, they won't, don't have the years of experience.
it's my issue, not theirs. Agreed. Of course, rationally, all of that. But I don't think I'm the only, like, have you experienced that yet? Because it's
Not
surreal,
in a
Anne Marie,
medical circumstance. Like,
or an important circumstance. It doesn't even have to be
so I have
medical.
a doctor I'm at a teaching hospital, so I've always had younger interns who come in. So I've kind of had that all the way through. But
Sure. Me too.
I have circumstances, I just think in small scenarios, I just keep realizing that
I think that's the point. Yeah.
everybody is like, yeah, like when I'll use the Olympics again. Like those
Yes.
kids are our age, like, and then our kids are starting to grow, like they're ending their third year of university, which means they're 1 year away from graduating, which I know I felt like a pretty darn big adult when I graduated and moved away from home permanently. And I still see our kids as kids at those age kids as kids, but they're gonna be of the age that we were fully adulting and moving into real life very soon. So it's like
And
a whole shift of
I'm
everything.
excited for them for that. I know what you mean, and I think about it because I actually distinctly remember that feeling. Like I remember I commuted for university and just being on the GO train every day with all of like the
Yeah.
adults. And I remember so I don't remember much about my childhood or my life generally, like other than yesterday.
You and I are the opposite.
We are
Where
the
I have
entire
like, I don't
opposite.
just remember, I have documented it in journals and
It's
books and notes and
incredible.
massive
My
documentation.
sister's
And you're like,
exactly the same
whatever.
way. And she'll remember like hotel numbers. And I'm like, did we even stay in that country? Like, I don't, everything's a blur. And I have a theory around that. But regardless, that, see, now I lost my point.
Do you remember feeling,
I have to write these things down, Anne Marie, while I have these good points because I do not remember what I was saying. Tell me what I was saying before,
well,
just
I
so
don't know, but I'll tell a story
I
about where
don't
I
know what
felt.
you were saying.
I'll tell a story about when I felt really young lately, which really made me feel so good. I
Oh,
told you about it when I joined, I thought I really want to play some more pickleball, which you know I've been trying to do.
yes.
And it's hard in our city, like through the recreation, everything gets filled up really fast. And it's all in the day, which of course is geared toward a certain demographic that's available in
Sure.
the day, mostly retired. And I found a time slot on Tuesdays from 3 to 5. And I thought, ooh, well, we have our flexible schedule. I can make
Yeah.
3 o'clock. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people who also have flexible schedules like me.
Yes.
And I went, and I know I texted you when I came out, showed
Yes.
up. And for sure, 3 to 5. I also thought if you were a senior, maybe you're having a nap, like, or you're having your
All the seniors
you're
are going to be
having your
like, she
early
has
bird
no
dinner.
idea.
Yeah, you're having your early bird dinner, maybe at
We're
4:30. Like
making
that's in the middle.
generalizations.
Well, that's in the middle of pickleball. I thought, anyway, I walked in, 60 people in this gym. I was the only one for sure my age, technically still under 50. There might have been a couple 50s, but most of the people were like
Late 50, you mean,
60s.
though.
Yeah,
So
late
late
50s.
50s. There's a
Yeah, like, or
generalization.
maybe retired or working 2 days a week. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, it was a good experience, but I got my ass handed to me by Gord, who has to be at least 80 and doesn't move his feet at all and just has these go-go gadget arms that just boom, 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 and has a wicked serve and does not smile. Didn't like any of my jokes. I make jokes and I'm nervous too. Anyway, it was humbling in some
That
way.
is a surreal experience. I agree. I think it's like I don't know. They happen more and more. I do recall the point I'm going to make, but it doesn't even matter anymore. But I was going to say I'm excited for our kids because I believe that they're having these moments of, oh my God, I'm an adult now. I remember being on the GO train and one day just looking at the CN Towers, I'm going into the city, like into my daily and going, oh my God, like this is the rest of my life. Like this is, I feel like an adult. And I know when I talk to Rylan, he has those moments where he's like, I'm loving this.
Yeah, they're in
And I'm like,
transition.
good, enjoy it now before it gets really tiring because you have kids and all that shit.
So that's an interesting point. So you know what I think also? Because I guess we're on the up, there's the uphill of the hill, and then there's over the hill and down the hill. So we're in the over the hill going down the hill. And
You looking
all the
over or
tr
are we down the hill already?
well,
I
the
want to know where I
definition of
am.
over the hill, I don't know, but I feel like 50 is probably it. So
Really?
over the hill, that's an
Yeah,
old term. What
probably.
did you think that was? Like I remember my mom's 40th birthday when I was a kid, and she
The
got a
sign
mug.
said.
There was a sign that said over the hill, but also she got a mug and it said, I'd rather be 40 than pregnant. I remember that.
Oh, that is
And
so
I
real. That should be
didn't
a tattoo
understand.
for
I didn't
sure.
understand why that was so
I'd rather
offensive.
be 50 than pregnant, that's for damn sure. Oh my God.
Not the pregnancy, it's like in a whole nother anyway. The point is when you're going up the hill, I think all these transitions are exciting. So when you saw the CN Tower, you're like, oh yeah, like
Like, yeah,
I'm in achieving mode. I'm
yeah,
in like
growth
you're
mode.
going,
Yeah.
yeah, and now you can still be in achieving and growth mode, but it's just different. It's just a little bit
So,
different.
oh, this brings in another point. So sorry, listeners, we have less of a less of a specific way in which we're doing this because we're just going to think of ideas of getting old. So I remember seeing, and I think you and I have talked about this. So I love that you're right. I would say that we're at the top, probably over the hill, but now maybe we're heading down as we're shedding. So they said that really what it should be is you spend your first, you know, not half of life, but like your adulthood of like building everything up, right? And that the latter part should really be tearing it down. Like,
Ooh.
because it's you're reinventing. So while you're going down the hill, it is visually as if you're going up. It should be equally exciting, which I believe it is. Like, I'm in the part where I feel it is exciting as it was maybe in my 20s because I know like there's retirement and all of that, but I have no idea how I'm getting there. Like it's kind of how it was. It's like I know I need to grow up, get a job, start a family, but I don't know how that's going to happen. And isn't that exciting, right? So I feel like isn't that exciting, but instead I'm going down the hill because it feels simpler because I'm actually letting go. Like you know me, my number one has been shed the shit. Like
If you listen to the last podcast,
oh
that would
yeah,
be
on divorce. Yeah.
shut
Like
the
I'm
shit.
like, it just feels complicated. I
Well, you
just
can
want to
go faster
simplify.
too. I mean,
Yes,
that's a great analogy is
that's
you speed,
exactly it.
like the speed goes because the
Well,
incline, like we're on the
yes,
down. But
yes.
also,
And
like
you
if
could
we
die
were
any minute.
yeah. And the time goes faster. It does
Yes.
go faster. Like this year already for me is going by so fast. And usually winter feels slow. I
Yeah.
can't believe it's going to be March. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
But if you were like a good old cartoon, you'd be like, if you were
Yes.
like on Santa's sleigh, you'd be chucking things off his sleigh to get the
Yes.
speed going. So
Yes. That's how I feel. Literally.
you're shedding
So
the
I
shit.
do feel like I'm in my 20 something phase, but it's like my 50s because it's all exciting and unknown. And I could literally do anything. Literally. Like, no, I have children and I have responsibilities, but because they're now out of the house
You know, I
entirely,
think you also feel a little bit like that though.
I do.
But you
Kind
know
of fast.
why? You know,
Why?
I think you do a little bit more than
Why?
if I were talking to many of my friends who are still married.
Yeah. Well,
I
because I
do
don't have
think
a
a lot
husband.
of yeah, that's a huge reason I think you,
100%.
yeah,
Yes.
that's a huge, like, I think um, everybody in this stage is looking for those kind of new
Hmm.
unknown, but if you have made the decisions you have made, you're literally on that track.
Literally the
So
single
like
one
you and
on
I
that
could be
track.
in the same track, but you are shedding things faster. So therefore you're going faster. You're down
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
path
that's fair.
in
That's a
a
good point.
quicker way. So it's just kind of interesting. You
Yeah.
know what I also thought was back to the Olympians that match that pairs up is that really brilliant Eileen it's GU. I don't know how to say her name.
Probably you.
No, it's
But that
G
would be why
GU.
you. I
No,
don't
it's
know.
GU. Anyway,
Okay.
she was also someone asked her in the interview is brilliant. And they said, this is not an offensive question. How do you think? Do you think before you talk? Because she talks and responds really, really fast. And she's incredibly competent and just like brilliant thoughts that come out of her brain. And so she got onto this whole topic about framing her brain for growth and neuroplasticity and like
Oh my
essentially
God.
training her brain to think a certain way, the way, same way that she trains her muscles and her responses and all of this. And she was saying, isn't it so cool that you can completely decide how you want to think and feel and train your brain to think and feel that and then just do that? And she blew my mind.
I need to look that up. Was that's just brain neuroplasticity?
And I have
Change your
no idea.
brain?
It got me thinking. I was like, what do you mean?
I'm
So
looking that up.
So I think she's correct. I think it's a little more complicated than what she's
No,
actually,
of course.
but it's
But
about
then she's
pairing.
mastered it, so it's that simple.
Of course, she's
Once you've
mastered it.
mastered it, then you're like, okay, it's that simple. But like, I agreed, it takes some time.
Yeah, but what I thought the insight that was really cool was that you could just train your brain to think and feel what you wanted. So then if you pair that into this next phase of life that we're in,
Mm,
and you're
hmm
shedding
hmm
old ways of thinking
hmm
or old approaches or, and we all know people who are really good at being their best selves and controlling that and being able to put that into practice. And all know people who have no interest in changing or being their best selves. And then we
hmm
know lots of people are kind of in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
have bad habits around my thinking or my
Sure.
feelings that just are habitually
Yeah.
like, yeah, like we did chat about this last week. Like I can respond defensively in things. That is a
Yeah.
habit. That's
Yeah.
completely a habit to
Yeah.
how my brain
Yeah.
goes. So how
Yeah.
do you try really, really hard not to? So when you're
React
in the
that way
process of this,
or allow the reaction to be much smaller. Like,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I agree.
So even when we're in these circumstances where all the doctors in the room are younger than us, if we had trained ourselves to, I am here under the best hands possible, doesn't matter who they are, we might not even notice. We might not even notice if they're
Fair, fair.
25 or 50
100%.
or
And I think
80.
we'll get there. I mean, I do think it's also cool to kind of, when's the time? Who was telling? Oh, it was something else I saw. And I do think that the 50, another positive way of looking at it is in your younger first phase, everything's like new and exciting. So I don't mind being in that situation where, because like, how often do you get something new and exciting and funny? Like, you just don't get that as much anymore unless you're
You have to
searching
look
for
for
it.
it.
You
Yeah.
have to look for it because you're so like consumed by everybody else's energy and life and you're responding and managing. So when I find myself in situations, like I literally always now, often like it's a bit of a shit show. Like weird things happen, and that's because I think I'm not toting children around, or man, it's probably so I'm out in the world, not really sure what.
So I'm going to interject. I don't think it's because
Please.
you're toting kids around because I have an extra kid. I've always been looking for those new and exciting. I think it's a mindset. I do
Maybe
think
it
it is.
is,
I
and
do
maybe
think it's a
because
mindset. Well, you've
I'm not
changed
as in,
everything else.
well,
So
also
your
I'm
brain
not as
is,
in my head. Yeah, like so I'm not as weighed down. I think for me, I can walk around the world without head. Like I'm in my head all of a lot. My kids like find it weird. They're like, you just get in the car and you don't turn on music. I'm like, no, I'm just thinking. I'm processing. I'm d. But I think I have less noise because everyone's kind of taken care of. So you're right. Maybe I never trained my brain to go beyond that because I was busy. That's how I
yeah,
kept my stress and levels and I regulated. Now I'm walking into the world, kind of looks like my head's up. Like I'm looking up now, not
yeah,
down. That's if I could describe it. And life is just funny.
yeah,
And
because
life
there's
was
so much to
always
see.
funny. There's
You
so
got to
much
just
to
pay
see.
attention. Yeah,
Yeah. And I
you're
think
paying
now it's
attention.
about capacity to pay attention. So I think that I'm not that different from probably a lot of people. actually, I know for a fact I'm not, who aren't. So when you have that ability to pay attention to things beyond what's affecting you and your orbit, you go back to what it was like in your 20s because you had less noise in your head. Because I had
Yeah.
less responsibilities.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, huh, that was funny. And then I realized
Because you're paying attention. You're
what
actually
a
paying attention to life.
no, I also, yes, yes, possibly.
Yeah, you're paying attention in a different way. Maybe you're always paying attention, but you're paying attention.
Yeah,
You're not being distracted, whether that is by
yeah,
people or music in the car. Like that's a good analogy.
yeah,
I get in
yeah.
the car, I don't do anything either. Also, it's
So it's
calm.
good. I think I like this again as a benefit to getting older is there's a level, and I think it's what people describe, and that's why they say even your 60s are better and whatever. Um, is there's a newness, if that makes sense. A reinvention, an ability to just do different things. And you're right, that is on a spectrum based on what your dynamic is. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a level of that regardless.
Yeah. And I think if you don't find the newness, that's where it can get a bit squishy. Doesn't feel
Very squishy.
like that's where,
It's not as fun.
yeah, squishy in like a rotting kind of way. Like you
So
know what I
squishy is
mean? Like
probably not the right word.
squishy, no, like in a, yeah,
I don't know.
I
So
don't know.
that's our all. Do we have another story? Because it's okay if this one's a shorter one. Those were just some funny things we were talking about. We wanted to
Yeah, that was her
mention,
whole theme was like, where the heck do we fit into this? And I think, you know what I think the answer is? We don't, and we're actually not going to.
and that's okay. Can I tell you the other thing that the fun thing to watch too? I'm noticing more is when, so I just posted this because like I just had this aha moment, but it happens all the time where, and the Olympics is a great example, right? Like when you were younger and you had someone who you watched. And then all of a sudden, fast track 25 years later. Not an actor, that's a different thing, but we were talking about it at Sidney Crosby, when all of a sudden everyone realized how much older he was. Like it's kind of like if you don't see someone on a daily without their helmet or
Yeah,
an actor, I'm not talking about that.
yeah.
I'm talking about, so I'm watching Traders Canada, or no, Traders US, not Canada this time. And they have Tara Lipinski and am I saying her name right? And
Yeah.
Johnny Weir, I think is his name, the skaters. And they're on this, and I love them. And they're like pretending that they're no spoiler alert, that they were besties in this
I've
traders.
never watched this, but I just heard about this the other
You
day from
must.
somebody.
It's just a fun thing to watch. Like it's pure entertainment and it's just a bit of Survivor and all that stuff in. But anyway, I watched this one and it's actually a really good season. But when everything kind of comes back to you, because I remember the Olympics with Tara Lipinski and I remember how young she was, and it just brings you back. I just don't think you get it a lot. Like you get it through your kids and you get it in moments, but I'm talking about a feeling of trajectory of like if you could watch it, it's like you're transported immediately to your
Back.
back.
Yeah.
Like when that happens, I love that flipping feeling, especially if it's a positive and not a negative, because sometimes it's negative. Something you eat, something you smell. But these two together, they're just fantabulous, but and they're actually best friends, and now I'm following them on socials.
Of
But
course you
that
are.
was the other thing. I'm coming at it as like again, as an adult, like an entirely different perspective. Like it's just it's hard for me, but I'm in the state of gratitude. Okay, last thing, everybody. This is life with Tanya. I'm like, woo. Um, the last thing to round this out,
Oh,
I had moments to think this weekend where the goal is to live so fully human, right? Like I feel like I've been trying to articulate this. It's like I'm like a little kid in a candy shop again. Like I have this opportunity, even if it's bad or good. I'm coming at everything with a perspective. I've had some really shitty things happen, and in those moments they feel shitty, but I can connect and I think that happens naturally regardless of what happened because you're 50 now. Like you've had experiences, and this is what people talk about. Every conversation I now have with people feels so much deeper and like so refreshing and so like rejuvenating and so like intense and like oh juicy and great. Like because it's I'm so able to relate in a much deeper way than my 20-year-old self. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
you have
mean?
greater experience and ability to, yeah, that makes
Yes.
sense.
And this, you know, when it was like the Dalai Lama or whoever, it's not the Dalai Lama, but someone like about ascending, like you have to, what's that top of the pyramid, top of the thing, like that's
The
the goal.
hierarchy of
Yeah, the
needs.
hierarchy of needs or whatever. But it's that. And I was listening to a really old interview with Stephen Colbert, and he was talking about grief. So it wasn't, it's grieving in many ways, but he said the goal is you have to be grateful for all the things. It's a gift for you in the moment to experience something terrible. Because now going forward, when you meet someone who's
You now
experienced
know.
that, you
Yeah,
now know and you can connect at a deeper level. And isn't that all of our goals? To live more full, that's being more fully as a human. And I was like, mind blown.
have you read The Alchemist?
No, but I should. I thought so that came up too. Is it
You've heard
that?
it?
I've totally have. Yeah.
It's short. It's like a
I
parable
like
more than a
short. That's
novel.
good. That's good for me.
Yeah, but it's essentially
That
the
idea.
quick synopsis is like your life is going to go where your life is going to go. We spend so much time thinking about where it's going to
Yeah.
go, trying to manipulate where it's going to go, overthinking all these things. But if you can possibly just let it be what it's going to be, which is very
Yes.
difficult,
100%.
uh, and understand that it doesn't matter if you were meant to be here, you're going to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe on time or whatever the thing is, but that's the quick and dirty of the very short novel. But that
I
your
love
life
that.
is
And
going to
and
be
I
what it's going to be,
yeah, and I think that
which is also okay on the theme of that in midlife. So we're all chasing longevity. We're all chasing, well,
yes.
I'm going to turn 50 and hey, what's today? Is today the 23rd? What is the date today?
The 23rd.
Oh, 2 months today. Ugh. 2 months today, I turned 50.
Oh, I was like, what happened 2 months today? What are we talking about?
I see, I don't like this. But anyway, so
Oh
two
my
months
God.
today, man,
Yes.
where I'm feeling this. That's why this year is going so fast. Um,
Because you
anyway,
don't want it to.
I for now I've lost my train of thought. But what was I saying?
Perimenopause. You
Ugh.
said you were talking about the alchemist and you're meant to get where you're going to go. And then, yeah, I
Oh
don't know.
yeah. So that's the thing with age is that we all want to live forever.
Yeah.
But the shit part is that we're not all going to live forever. And we
Yeah.
don't know who's going to make it to 95 and who's only
Yeah.
going to make it to 65 and
Yeah.
what it is. And we're all chasing all of this when really we should not be chasing the length of time in years. We should be in my opinion, we
Yes.
should be chasing the
I know what you're
depth
going
in
to say.
today.
Yes. That's it. Being in the moment
The
and feel,
depth of
yeah,
today is far more important
than the
than the
longevity.
length of the years.
Yes.
Because, and I was thinking about this a lot, um, because my dad passed away. He was just was 70.
Right.
So, and this weekend, anyway, I had an album that came up on Facebook and it was just the anniversary
Oh
last week.
gosh.
So
Yeah.
I wound up going through all these out like pictures and I had written stories for each picture. That was just how I grieved 11 years ago. And so much of the theme of my dad was around the depth of the moments, which he didn't say it like that, but he always would talk about
Oh,
small
that's so
moments.
good.
And it got me thinking over the weekend about, wait a second, like I've really got to live this because if I look at that, he only was 20 years older than me.
I know.
His mother was in her early 50s. His father was in his early 60s.
Yeah.
So you start to, and that's kind of where if I was having a panic attack, that's where I would have a panic attack around. Is like, oh my God, I'm running out of time, running out of time, running out of time.
Yes.
And so that's where this concept around living left is like, it's about what's left. And it's
Yes.
not just, and that sounds, some people might feel that sounds morbid. I'm like, it's not but it's like treating what's left with the gratitude and beautifulness of an acceptance that what is left, maybe it is 20 years, maybe it's 5 years, hopefully it's another 50. But I have to treat it all with the same respect and the great love
Agreed.
of it and the depth, giving, honoring that. And so
Yeah.
creating moments where you can be grateful for the 30-year-old doctor, but also be grateful for the crappy moments too, because
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think we all kind of get there. I think that's just a big part of this time period is you are shown these things. You gain perspective in a lot of ways, and I think your longevity is definitely one of them, right? I mean, just like I was watching the interview with Eric Dane, like all of that stuff,
oh,
right? Like
ALS, like
I
she's
know. So
unreal.
when you think you need to take those, you need to, that's the universe, those are reminders. Like I've had, um, cancer surrounding me and friends and family and like those and you talking about your dad like but you're 20 or like I'm just going to say prospectively there's a feeling of naturally I think a feeling of you're going to live forever when you're younger. It's just not on your mind as much unless you've had some serious trauma that creates
Yeah.
but for most people. And I think that's part of so that constant feeling maybe once was a bit fearful, right? But now there's a lot more peace to it. And it was just through that description of, and what you're saying is intentionally, when you understand that exactly what you said, it's about today and being and intentionally living today, the depth of this moment versus because you can no longer predict there's a beauty behind that. There's a gift in that if you're able to live that way, but it takes effort, right? Like you're also human. Like you're not going to be able to do that every day. But if you could do that way more than you did 2 years ago, you're already winning, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And it was like a feeling I was working really hard at, but I was also just feeling that way. And then when it was articulated that way, I was like, oh, that's it. Like,
Maybe that's why I never want to go to bed, Tanya. Maybe that's why I'm just trying to soak out every little last minute of the
everything,
day.
well, you've always been, you are very good. It's harder for me, I think, than you you get out you wring out every ounce of an experience, which is part of the beauty of who you are.
Like I don't
Um,
like to leave things early. I don't
yes,
like to like come
yes.
late, but I
And I
I've never actually
maximize
I've
this.
never
Yeah.
thought about it like in this way. Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think one
Yeah,
is
yeah.
better than I'm just
No, no,
like kind of
you naturally do
brainstorming here.
that. Whereas I was like, when are we going to bed? Because I'd like my bed and I want to sleep. Whereas, yeah, it's just a mindset shift and a being shift that just allows you to look at everything differently. And do I have it all figured out? Absolutely not. But I'm so much more aware of it. And then you make choices and you just don't worry about certain things and you just don't think
And you
about
worry
different
about
things.
other things.
But I think the main thing for me was the goal is the gift in being able to connect with others. So I always knew connection and community. We've talked about this is important, but they never felt so fantastically juicy is the word I'm gonna because it's like this like ugh, than they do now.
So
And
it was more of an idea than actually like a tangible
I
thing you
couldn't put
had.
my
You could,
arm
yeah.
around it, my hands on it. I was like, why am
So it
I
was a
loving
theory.
this so
So it was a
much?
theory of community, and now you've created and found a community and you feel part of it.
Or I think it's how you show up. So like I show up very different than I did 15 years ago. So and because of my experiences, I can show up in a much deeper way than I did before. I was still a good person, probably had similar values, that sort of thing. But like I can now, no matter who I talk to, kind of really relate. And so there's an energy exchange. That's what I've talked about energy all the time. I can sometimes see and feel it with another human more than I did
Or
before.
you're moving into your witchcraft
My
phase.
little woo-woo thing. But I think it's that. It's
It's
the
true though.
understanding. It's like I see you and I've been there and now I can listen and have this conversation with you in a way different. So that for anyone who's like, what the hell are you talking about? You will get to a level of this and
You know
it's
why?
quite
I have a theory.
fascinating.
You
What's
said
your
something
theory?
at the beginning. You said, we were talking about historically don't remember things. I'm going to be fascinated to see if you remember these things. I think you will.
I
I
think so
think you're
too.
having a deeper connection and deeper
Yes.
experiences. So if you
Yeah.
fast forward to 5 years, you're going to remember these things, or 10 years, you're going to look back. But maybe, as a hypothesis, maybe
Yeah.
the reason things were a blur is that
Yes.
you are going too fast across things and not deep enough.
100%. That's my theory too. I said I had a theory, and I agree. I'm putting those pieces together because I'm living in a way that is just feels different. And I think that that is probably what getting older is, right? But
Well, what's
everyone,
getting older for you is if you
yeah,
had been living deeper, maybe that's not for everybody.
so what I was going to
Yeah.
actually say is if it's on a trajectory of 0 to 100, right, in
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
ages, you're right. Some people are faster at certain parts, right? Like I think we all kind of, and some people never are always like at a certain speed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so
And
I think that's just what it is.
maybe
So
it's reverse. Maybe people who, as they get older, they go the other way.
the Olympian. So when she's talking about her perspective, I'm like, how are you even appreciating or having those thoughts? So she clearly is faster, like in the
Yeah.
ascension, of
Yeah.
life, of getting there. I'm like, and I guess you would have to be an Olympian. Like, I'm sure they're all that way. It's not an average human who can just be like, me, I'm just gonna do that.
I'm gonna
Like it
risk my
takes,
life.
I think they're all probably kind of fascinating that way. Anyway, so that's the benefits of getting older and the funny stories we now find ourselves in as we're 50. And Anne-Marie is 2 months away. You
49.
heard it.
I'm still 49.
49. I think once or twice I said it was 52. I'm like, what am I talking about? I'm only
You have another
51.
6 months. Yeah. I know. Don't jump ahead.
Don't jump ahead. I
This is
always
a
had
thing
this
you don't
thing.
want to jump ahead on. Speaking of time, we have a meeting in 5 minutes.
Okay,
So
look at us. We're done. Okay.
this was short and sweet. No, it was
No.
not short or
Because we
sweet.
could just keep talking. That's the thing. But we will put you all out of your misery. We hope you enjoyed it and got a laugh here or there and would love to know if you've had these, where are all the adults? That should be the title of this podcast.
Where are all the adults?
Where are all
We
the
are the
adults?
adults. You know
No,
what?
but
As you were
that's the
saying that,
point, Anne-Marie.
but here's the thing, is if the 22 years old is an adult and an 80-year-old is an adult,
No,
like
no.
super adults,
No, dude, you're being too literal with my funniness. That's the funny part. Is
where
yes,
are
we're all adults. Duh. But Tanya Garcia came to the party and was like, "What?" That's the funny part of it.
got it. Okay. All right. Got it. Aren't we
But
all?
other people maybe don't aren't that dense. But I was like, I feel
Now we're
uncomfortable.
gonna have to look around and be like, every time we go somewhere, we're gonna be like, how old are you? How
I
old are
know. I know. It's so true. Okay. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
you?
Hope you
Thanks.
enjoyed
Feel
this
young.
podcast.
Feel young.
Okay,
See
I'm
ya.
stuck.